Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Likon Obanjo. The top stories at this hour. President Tinubu seeks stronger Global South role in world affairs. Olubadan of Ibadan, Owolabi Olakuleyin, joins his ancestors at 90 after 1 year on the throne. Tension in Nairobi as Kenya marks a democracy uprising. Details to come your way shortly. We begin with the ongoing BRICS summit, where Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has called for a major overhaul of global governance, finance, healthcare, and particularly championing the interests of the Global South. Tinubu, who made the call at the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, demanded parity in institutions, including the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank, advocating debt forgiveness and financial inclusion for emerging economies. The president also reaffirmed Nigeria's support for South-South cooperation, stating that BRICS must evolve into a bloc for emerging solutions rooted in solidarity, self-reliance, sustainability, and shared prosperity.
Nigeria strongly believes in South-South cooperation. We can therefore not be passive participants in global decision-making. On this financial restructuring, debt forgiveness, climate change, environmental and global healthcare, we must be architects of our future that addresses the specific needs and concerns of youth, which represent 70% of our population in Nigeria. Nigeria stand firm with BRICS and stand firm in its resolve to transform challenges into opportunities through climate resilience, environmental stewardship, and health equity. As we approach COP30 and look to strengthen global health system, we believe the BRICS must not only be a bloc of our emerging economies, it must be a beacon solutions.
Away from that, Ibadan is mourning the death of its traditional ruler, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, who passed away early on Monday at the age of 90. The monarch died during celebrations marking both his 90th birthday and the first anniversary of his coronation. Oba Olakuleyin succeeded the late Oba Lekan Balogun and was widely respected for his leadership and wisdom. Tributes have begun pouring in from political leaders, traditional rulers, and citizens. More details surrounding his death and the transition process are expected in the coming hours. Let's now take you to the National Assembly, where Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central has announced she will resume her duties in the Senate this Tuesday, following a federal high court ruling that nullified her 6-month suspension. The court declared the suspension unconstitutional and excessive, emphasizing that it denied her constituents proper representation. In a video message to her supporters, Akpoti-Uduaghan expressed gratitude and confirmed her return to the Senate. Meanwhile, spokesman of the Senate, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, on Sunday said the Federal High Court in Abuja has not served the certified true copy of the judgment, which nullified the 6-month suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. He said the upper chamber has acknowledged the judgment of the court, but are yet to be served the CTC. Now, as part of efforts to build a formidable coalition ahead of the 2027 general elections, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has commenced moves to woo high-profile politicians from the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, APC. Confirming the takeover of PDP structures in Yobe, Gombe, and Adamawa states, Paul Ibe, media aide to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, said the PDP executives in the northern states had aligned with the coalition. However, Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State dismissed media reports that he would lead 5 other governors from the APC to the ADC. Also, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, said he remains committed to protecting the interests of his supporters and political associates. Earlier, Barrister Fred Nziako joined us on the news to discuss this further.
Country that professes to practice democracy without virile, robust opposition will be tied any democracy that tries to run on almost on a single lane, because the balanced opinion of the opposition is needed in every democratic environment. And the new coalition has come to present such balanced and robust opposition to the government in power. And of course, the beauty of it is that not only will they bring constructive ideas and criticisms, they will also be ready to take over power if the government in power fails to do what is expected by the people going forward. So it's a good development. When we say we practice democracy, we are talking about government of the people, whereby the decision of the people is paramount. And of course, nobody can say that he has more than one term. In a democratic environment during elections, it is one man, one vote. So every citizen is important, and that is why it is called government of the people. Any politician that arrogates to himself or to herself the unbridled power of taking decision for the people is only doing so out of either unnecessary arrogance or sheer misunderstanding of what democracy is all about. It is the people of Nigeria that will determine their fate in a representative, in a general election. And what will inform the decision of the people is their experience and their expectation. If their experience under the current government is not good, they will do the right thing by voting them out. If the expectation of the incoming, any new government is better, then they will bring in any government that they feel will advance their cause of their welfare and their life. So for politicians to say, we do this, we do that, I take it that they are only making political statements because it is the people of Nigeria, the electorate that matter. And of course, it is their decision that is very important. And that is why we continue to ask that the votes of the people must be respected and their votes must count and not be scuttled by the election management body. In any environment where such votes are scuttled, then we are not talking about democracy.
In the meantime, in a country grappling with urbanization, economic inequality, and climate threats, Nigeria's landfills have become more than dumping grounds, and they are battlegrounds of survival, innovation, and often health challenges. News Central's correspondent Bettina Nwili is confronting the mountain waste crisis and asking the important questions. Is waste just trash, or could it be Africa's next untapped resource? And now we have Bettina Nwili, our news correspondent, joining us to give us updates. Good afternoon to you, Bettina. What's the situation of things where you are? It's looking quite nauseating, I must say.
It is nauseating, Leko. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Actually, it's an eyesore. Now, what we have here is a fraction, and I'm talking about a tiny fraction of what is going on around Piakasa, just opposite Federal Housing Estate in Dugbe, Abuja. Now, while the government is doing a lot within the Abuja municipal, constructing roads and, also trying to commission them, we have communities that are, complaining bitterly about this dump site that are very close to where they live. Now, if you look behind me, even up until the power line, it is filled with rubbish and trash. And even as we've been here for over an hour, we've seen people who keep coming to add more trash to what is already here. Now, we cannot even begin to talk about the health consequences of this. And according to the people that we've spoken to, it's even worse when it rains. We spoke to a young man earlier, and he says that when the rains come, he doesn't even make use of this road. He crosses over to the other side of the road, walks down, and then crosses back because the smell is that bad. I've been doing reports on dump sites and refuse, and this is the first time I have had to use a nose mask for a live report because that is how bad the situation is. I have a young man here who is ready to speak about the waste and how it's affecting them because he also stays within this community. Thank you, sir. Please come closer. Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Danladi Joel Gada.
All right, Danladi, can you tell us about this dump site and how it is affecting those of you who reside in this region?
Actually, this dump site is a very, very toughie for us people living in this vicinity. Even if you want to pass here, you are not comfortable, and this place is really affecting people, especially young children. The older we are getting there is causing, there is so much air pollution and it's affecting young children, that's causing malaria because of the mosquito, that this place has made it a accommodation for mosquito, and there is especially this dysentery and the breakout of many diseases that are affecting even the adult and the young children. So we really need the help of the government if they can do something about it. Thank you very much.
All right, Danladi, before I let you go, have you called or has this community called on the government before to see whether they can do anything about it? Has there been any response in the past regarding this dump site?
Yes, the community has made some move. That is based on at the area council level. They have made a move. They have just come. It is once that they have cleared this dustbin, and the dustbin has gathered again, and it has been here for long.
How long ago was that?
That's, let's say, like 5 to 4 months back.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So you've heard it from a resident of this community. 4 to 5 months ago, they came here to clear this dump. But look at what is behind me 4 months after. You would agree with me that this is something the government needs to pay attention to. And if possible, put in sanctions and laws that will make sure that this place is highly residential and not a dump site that is affecting the lives and the livelihoods of the people that stay here.
Thank you so much, Bettina and Rayleigh, for sharing these updates with us. We hope that the Nigerian government will be able to do the needful, most especially for the health, of course, of the people residing in that area. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Let's go on our break now. When we return, Sokoto government demands hostage release from bandit kingpin Turji. And we will tell you more when we are back. Do join us again. Even as we talk about the demise of the late Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, we are glad to have finally established quality reception with our guest, a public intellectual and an indigenous of Oyo State, Prince Adetayo Adekunle, to get more details from him. Thank you so much, Prince Adekunle, for joining us. Now, how would you describe the late Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin?
Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin was a man of many parts. He served Nigeria dutifully in the armed forces as a soldier. He was elected into the House of Representatives in 1992, and he was also involved in businesses before he joined the Olubadan chieftaincy ladder through the Balogun line of the Olubadan of Ibadan chieftaincy. He was a man of peace, he was a community leader, and he was a bridge builder across the traditional institutions and the society at large.
So then, what were the most impactful legacies of his reign in Ibadan land?
Well, I think that he had quite a brief but impactful reign as the Olubadan. But before going into that, it is important to state that before he became the Olubadan, he had served as the chair of different traditional councils in Ibadan during the period that he was on the chieftaincy ladder, which culminated in his ascension as the Olubadan. And as the Olubadan, over a couple of the last 12 months, he has worked hand in hand with the government he has brought in, some new members into the chieftaincy line of Ibadan, people who we consider as men of timber and caliber. There was no controversy of any sort during his very brief but impactful reign. So one can say that by and large, Baba Kabiyesi Owolabi Olakuleyin was a man of peace, true and true. And he was born in July, coronated in July, and has now joined his ancestors in July. So you can say that indeed he was a man of destiny.
Well, we're glad that he clocked 90 before his glorious exit, but then how did people in Ibadan celebrate him, and what is the atmosphere like now there?
You see in Ibadan, the good people of Ibadan land, they are described as Agbotikuyo in Yoruba. And Agbotikuyo, the literal meaning is one who rejoices upon receiving the news of a glorious transition. And the reason why they are Agbotikuyo is because most Olubadans of Ibadan land, they live up to ripe old ages. So when they join their ancestors, the people do not consider it as mourning. Rather, they consider it as celebration of a life well spent. Of course, no matter how old a person is, his immediate family members and his associates would definitely miss him. They will be sore. So one can say now that for the family, it is a very, very deep mourning period. For the people of Ibadan in general, what I know is that by virtue of the native law and custom of Ibadan, there is usually a 21-day mourning period when the Olubadan or a very important chief transits into the ancestral realm. So we can say that in many parts of Ibadan now is mourning, but because the next in line is also known, you can also say partially that there is celebration in a miniature part of the city in line with that time-tested maxim of Agbotikuyo, which I explained earlier.
Having said that, we hear that former Oyo State Governor Rashidi Ladoja is next in line to ascend the ancient Olubadan throne. Well, he's actually 80 years old. How true is that?
Yes, it's important to state that the ascension to the Olubadan of Ibadan land alternates between the Balogun chieftaincy line and the Otun chieftaincy line. This is because the Ibadan monarchy is a republican system. It's a very unique republican system in Yoruba land because the founders of the third Ibadan, having learned from some of the issues that led to the decline of the old Oyo Empire, developed somewhat of a republican system. So it is not a ruling house chieftaincy. It's a republican chieftaincy that alternates from Balogun to Otun. The immediate past to Olubadan now, Baba Owolabi Olakuleyin, was the Balogun of Ibadan land before he ascended the throne as Olubadan. Now the throne will go to the Otun line, headed by the highly respected former distinguished senator, former governor of Oyo State, and fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Chief Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja. Perhaps I need to add that on the Balogun line, there are 23 steps. You have to climb 23 steps of the ladder before you get to the zenith. And on the Otun line, it is 22 steps. So indeed, Chief Rashid Adewolu, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Akamuladoja is the putative Olubadan, or if you like, the Olubadan designate as of today, the 7th day of July 2025.
Well, thanks for the clarification. Now, I stand to be corrected, but why is it that a much younger person has never been coronated for the throne?
Like I said earlier, in Yoruba, they say Idalu Ounishelu, that all communities have their unique and peculiar way of regulating the conduct and their affairs. In Ibadan, it is not a ruling house chieftaincy. It's a republican chieftaincy. For you to be Olubadan, you must first be appointed as the Mogaji or the head of your family. Now, when you become the Mogaji or the head of your family, and there is a vacancy such as we have now, you join either of the two lines, the Balogun or two line, as Jagun Balogun on the Balogun line, or Jagun Olubadan on the Otun Olubadan line. Now, you go through that process of promotion and elevation upon the demise of chiefs who are your senior in the pecking order. Now, if you take all of it together, there are about 45 steps. So even if you put a 30-year-old Mogaji, you appoint a 30-year-old Mogaji as Jagun, and he has to climb all of those steps, literally and figuratively speaking. Now, you know, as I do, that it will take a very, very long time. And that's why before you become the Olubadan, you would have been the chairman of any of the 11 traditional councils in Ibadan land, because as a chief of the Olubadan on either the Balogun or the Otun line, you are already an Oba in waiting. And so that line, you get all of the trainings, you get all of the exposure, you get all of the norms and most of the people, you get accustomed to it before you finally ascend the throne, if God and the ancestors will it that way. So that's why it's practically impossible for you to have a 50 or 60-year-old as Olubadan. Interestingly, it has been reported that, in fact, the youngest person who ascended the throne, if I'm not mistaken, that's Olubadan Okunla, did not even reign long, even though he ascended at a relatively young age.
Okay. Now, for the next king of Ibadan land, how can the memories of the late Oba Olakuleyin be preserved?
Well, immortalization can happen through various means. Immortalization can happen when you carry on with the legacies of your predecessor. For the Olubadan designate, is probably the most experienced and the most qualified person that would ascend the throne of a paramount ruler in Yoruba land. If a man is a Belgium-trained engineer, he's been in the Senate, he's been a governor, he's conducted himself well in his private businesses, you expect that he would certainly carry on the legacies of his predecessor. If there are areas of adjustment, definitely he would tweak it, but we expect that he would be at the vanguard of the promotion and exposition of the very rich cultural values of the good people of Ibadan land.
Well, we commiserate with the people of Ibadan for the demise of Oba Olakuleyin, and we pray that the Lord will grant him eternal rest. Thank you so much, Prince Adetayo Adekunle, for talking to us at this time. Moving on now, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted rainy and thundery weather conditions from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released on Sunday in Abuja anticipated patches of cloud on Monday and chances of morning thunderstorms over parts of Taraba and Adamawa. There are also prospects of thunderstorms with rains over parts of Zamfara, Adamawa, Kebbi, Taraba and Kaduna State later in the day. NIMET envisaged sunny skies in the northern region on Tuesday with patches of clouds in the morning. We talk security now. The security advisor to Sokoto State Governor, retired Colonel Ahmed Usman, has called on bandit leader Bello Turji to back his recent peace overtures with concrete actions by unconditionally releasing all kidnapped victims in his custody and halting attacks on rural communities. Usman's appeal followed a circulated audio message on social media where Turji expressed willingness to embrace peace and urged fellow bandit leaders to engage in dialogue. While acknowledging the statement as a potential turning point in the efforts to restore stability in the region, Usman insisted that the Sokoto state government would judge such declarations by measurable actions, not rhetoric. The retired military officer also called on Turji and his allies to seize the opportunity by choosing a path of genuine reconciliation and non-violence. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has issued marching orders to the military to confront Boko Haram, terrorists, bandits, separatists, and other criminal gangs threatening the peace and sovereignty of the nation. President Tinubu gave the charge at the grand finale of the 2025 Nigerian Army Day celebration held in Kaduna State, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima. Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's unwavering commitment to the welfare of officers and soldiers of the armed forces. The Central's Silva, who has been in Kaduna State monitoring the celebrations, now reports.
The tradition started in 1863 and here gathered for the 162nd Nigerian Army Day celebration are top Nigerian government officials, former head of state Yakubu Gowon, state governors, service chiefs, and other very senior Nigerian army officials, captains of industry, media executives, as well as wives and family members of the Nigerian army personnel. President Bola Tinubu, represented here by his vice, Kashim Shettima, said he will leave no stone unturned in improving the nation's security architecture.
To the officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, I say this with clarity. The time to rise is now. You have my full authorization and the trust of the Nigerian people to confront and defeat those who seek to undermine our nation. You have my confidence, my support, and my prayers. And I know that you have the resolve to prevail.
He is optimistic that with the strides of the nation's army, more will be achieved if round pegs are put in round holes.
You cannot build a great army without building strong soldiers. Their welfare, morale, equipment, and sense of purpose are not afterthoughts. They are the bedrock of national security. I commend your commitment to placing the soldier in the center of reform, and I assure you that this administration stands firmly with you on that path.
Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, while commending the troops for their achievements so far, said the Nigerian Army will not relent in improving on its mandate.
My dear soldiers, the pillars that uphold the strength of the Nigerian Army, I thank you all and assure you that our collective sacrifice will never be in vain. I use this medium to assure you all that the Nigerian Army of today has been infused with modern and state-of-the-art equipment, platforms, and capabilities to confront as well as deter any threat to the country.
Here are some of the sights and sounds that climax the events at the grand finale. Awards were presented to deserving stakeholders as well as some personnel for meritorious performances. With the events done and dusted, Nigerians will expect to look forward to a more motivated army, providing greater territorial security for the nation. In Kaduna State for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Now, some people call them the unsung heroes that pivot economic advancement. Others say they form an ecosystem that guarantees individual, national, and even generational wealth. Howbeit, small and medium-sized enterprises contribute in many ways towards job creation, industrial growth, and could even attract foreign direct investments. In this report, News Central's business correspondent Odebere Mercy finds out their challenges and opportunities.
Statistics, it is estimated that small and medium enterprises contribute 48% of GDP in Nigeria. They also account for 96% of businesses, creating 84% of employment. With a total number of about 17.4 million, that means about 50% of industrial jobs and nearly 90% of the manufacturing sector make up several enterprises.
We employ 93% of the workforce, meaning that governments and large corporations are just employing less than 10% of the total workforce in Nigeria. Entrepreneurship offers them a means for survival.
Despite these contributions, Nigerian SMEs still suffer limited access to finance, epileptic power supply, infrastructural deficits, unfriendly policies, inflation, low technical and technological support, education, amongst others that threaten productivity, profit, and growth. How then will they survive?
Most of us that is doing business now, we are collecting money from microfinance. If you collect like 100,000, imagine, they will ask you to pay like 120, 130. So interest like 20, 30,000. It's like we are just working for them.
If you go to market with 100,000, 50,000, you buy plenty. But now, with 500,000, you don't even buy up to one cattle. And the thing is affecting us, make us to lose customers.
Are there opportunities or initiatives SMEs can tap into that can help reshape Nigeria's business landscape?
Registering a business now is a lot more easier than it used to be. So there are actually efforts that we can look at and say this is encouraging, but there is still a lot more that could be done in the area of favorable policies, in the area of funding and some other things that can help businesses to do well and make life a lot easier for the small and medium enterprises.
Adaptability is key. It's important that businesses find ways to mitigate some of these problems by reducing their overheads, by working in partnerships, by leveraging resources that other companies, other businesses, or other individuals can bring to their organization. And then finally, one of the most important things is the mindset.
By strategically leveraging the resources already available, they believe Nigeria's industrial capacity will be transformed for a brighter future.
Coming up on the news, tension in Nairobi as Kenya marks democracy uprising. We'll tell you more when we are back. Do stay with us. Kenya marked Sabasaba Day on Monday amid high tension and heavy police presence in Nairobi. The day commemorates the 1990 pro-democracy protests against autocratic rule. This year, it's been reignited by young Kenyans angry over corruption, police brutality, and a struggling economy. Roads into Nairobi city center were blocked and businesses shut down as authorities braced for unrest. Activist Hanifa Aden posted online calling it a forced holiday by the state. On Sunday, armed men disrupted a Kenyan Human Rights Commission press conference demanding an end to extrajudicial killings. Over 80 people have died since protests began in June, and many fear further violence. Protesters accuse the state of sabotage. The government calls it an attempted coup.
I've never seen the CPD being decided like this. This is one of the things which shows now people are being tired of this government. You see businesses are closed everywhere, people are in the house, the economy is being affected. Now you see the government raises its revenue from the businesses. You see now the government is losing today, as the constitution says, the power belongs to people. So we are the people who speak or who want the president to go out. Because what he has promised to the country is not delivering. So this slogan of Ruto must go, we will not relent and we will keep it going each and every day. So it is possible because power belongs to us.
No, I have never witnessed it like this. So today even I can see the situation is very different compared to the last one. Yes. It is never like this before. I have never seen like this. People are tired. People are very, very tired. People want to be listened. According to me, it is the right for the people to pick it. As long as they don't interfere with some business or some goods to interfere with them or start harassing people. But if it is just picketing, that's very good.
The continent will tell you that President Donald Trump has slammed former ally Elon Musk's launch of a new political party as ridiculous after the tech billionaire who once backed the Republicans said he wanted to challenge the United States' one-party system. The world's richest person and Trump's biggest political donor in the 2024 election had a bitter falling out with the president after leading the Republicans' effort to slash spending and cut federal jobs as head of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Musk has clashed with Trump over the president's massive domestic spending plan, saying it would explode the U.S. debt, and vowed to do everything in his power to defeat lawmakers who voted for it. On Saturday, he created the America Party, through which the Tesla, SpaceX, and X owner will attempt to do that.
Elon Musk starting a third party. I think it's ridiculous to start a third party. We have a tremendous success with the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost their way, but it's always been a two-party system. And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but...
Meanwhile, in Texas, volunteers and emergency crews continue to search through debris and flooded terrain after devastating flash floods claimed at least 59 lives. In Hunt, near Ingram, rescue efforts have intensified with helicopters scanning tree-strewn riverbanks, while small groups of volunteers comb the area on foot. Among them is 62-year-old Luiz leading a local church team. The last message they got was, and I quote, "We're being washed away." And then the phone went dead, end of quote. The community remains hopeful but deeply shaken as such operations push on in treacherous conditions. Many fear the death toll could rise as several people, including children, are still unaccounted for.
I'm coordinating for a small group of volunteers, about 20 people. Some of us go to the same church, but we're helping the parents of two of the missing children. And their house collapsed about 4 in the morning, and they were being washed away. And on her cell phone, the last message they got was, "We're being washed away," and the phone went dead. So
yesterday we started in the morning. We found 2 young girls up near the Hunt store, and then about 10 o'clock we found another little girl wrapped up in debris in a tree near the crossing, the Hunt store crossing. The rangers and the troopers were able to help us get her out of the tree, and they did let me know that she was one of the Mystic Camp girls that went missing. We're happy to give a family closure, and hopefully we can, keep looking and find some of the, whoever, help give some of those families closure. That's why we're...
Away from that, and at the BRICS Plenary session in Rio de Janeiro, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva delivered a strong message against global militarization. He criticized NATO's recent decision to allocate 5% of gross domestic product to military spending, calling it a move that fuels the arms race. President Lula also condemned violations of Iran's territorial integrity and stressed the urgent need for direct dialogue in the Ukraine conflict. He urged all involved parties to work together and toward a ceasefire, emphasizing diplomacy over escalation. His comments come as BRICS nations push for a multipolar world order and greater emphasis on peace building. The session continues with leaders from member states addressing global instability and economic cooperation. In sports, defending champions Nigeria and Togo are set to headline the 2025 ITTF Africa West Regional Championships from July 16 to 19 at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall, Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. Nigeria will defend its women's team crown, while Togo targets a second straight men's title after their dramatic 2024 win. The tournament, a qualifier for the African Championships in Rwanda, has attracted over 10 countries, including returning teams like Sierra Leone and Guinea. Nigeria's Matthew Kuti aims to make history with back-to-back singles titles, while the women's singles title is open following Hope Udoaka's absence. With high participation and home advantage, Nigeria also seeks redemption in the men's team's event. But I'll tell you that Super Falcons head coach Justin Madugu has lauded his team's commanding performance in their 3-0 victory over Tunisia in the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
We are not flattered by the scoreline. We know what we set out to do. We have watched the game. We have noticed areas that we also know that we need to improve. So it's still work in progress. Like I said, it's the first match. And naturally, you know, playing the first game, sometimes a lot of factors come into play. You don't expect your team to be at their best playing from the first game. Certainly, because you still have more games to play, the expectation is that you hope to get better in every game up to the finals and then the last game of the tournament.
Now, Nigeria International, or Lino, has signed a new 3-year contract with Nottingham Forest, extending his stay at the club until 2028. Aino joined Forest in July 2023 on a 1-year deal after leaving Torino and played a key role in the club's battle against relegation in his debut season. The fullback made 37 appearances across all competitions in 2024 down to 2025, helping Forest secure 7th in the Premier League and an FA Cup semi-final spot. His extension follows contract renewals for striker Chris Wood, defender Murillo, and head coach Nuno Espirito Santo. Colombian striker John Duran has joined Turkish giant Fenerbahce on a 1-year loan from Al Nassr just 6 months after sealing a £71 million move from Aston Villa. The 21-year-old scored 12 goals in 18 matches for the Saudi side following a productive stint at Villa, where he netted 12 times in 29 appearances. Despite his impact, Duran struggled for regular starts behind Oli Watkins. Fenerbahce, who finished second in the Turkish Super League under manager Jose Mourinho, confirmed the deal and welcomed Duran to their squad. Superstar Kevin Durant is headed from the Phoenix Suns to Houston as part of an NBA record 17 deal the Rockets confirmed on Sunday. The Rockets will also welcome back Clint Capella in a sign and trade deal with Atlanta. Houston said in a statement posted on the team website. Also involved in the blockbuster transfer were the Brooklyn Nets, Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Los Angeles Lakers. Durant, in a Sunday post on X, sent a farewell message to fans in Phoenix while making it clear he's excited to be heading for Houston, his 5th career NBA club. Durant, a 15-time NBA All-Star forward and 4-time league scoring leader, won NBA titles with Golden State Warriors in 2017 and 2018. And that's all on the news at this hour, but then we look at our top stories before we go. President Tinubu is seeking stronger global South role in world affairs. Olubadan of Ibadan, Owolabi Olakuleyin, has joined his ancestors at the age of 90 after 1 year on the throne. We also told you that tension in Nairobi as Kenya marks democracy uprising. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.